Okay, here we are with a walk around video finally of the Hutter 17. I guess I'll start out with the nose here. Kind of have a bright sunny day, so it's kind of hard, but we have the nose hook here right in the nose of all places. The hook on this plane is an Otfur, which is British, very similar to the Toast release. Let's see, as we continue around the fuselage, you can see my, there's the front of the skid mount, the bungee hook. Let's go back, we have our first rubber donut. You can also see the center of gravity release installed on this airplane, which I think is maybe a little bit too far back on this plane, but it is mounted on the bulkhead there, and but I think it would be better if it was a little further forward. And if we continue back, you can see the end of the skid. There's also a little, almost like a skateboard wheel on the very back. That's really not for landing, but if you're ever towing the glider on the ground, that little wheel is kind of right at the empty balance point of the airplane, and it allows it to roll across paved areas pretty easily. Come up here to the cockpit opening. You can see my little instrument panel on my shroud. I will pop this off. One thing, if I was building a plane, and I've even thought of modifying my airplane, but the cockpit opening here, I've seen other planes where it's much farther forward. It's about halfway here, and I think I would build it so I would put in a false bulkhead, just a half bulkhead about here, so that the cockpit opening was further forward, which would make it much easier to get in and out of this airplane. Because of the way the wing overhangs the cockpit, it's difficult. You really have to fold yourself up to get in here. Here, the strut fitting, the lower strut fitting on the left wing. The struts on this aircraft are made out of 3 pieces of wood. It's actually 2 right triangles glued back to back to make the tapered portion, and then a half round on the front. So it is kind of laminated out of 3 pieces. Go up here to the top, upper strut fitting. Again, per the drawings, nothing unusual there. Anyway, so we'll come out here to the wing. Let me lower this wing here. Out to the wingtip, everything, I guess, per the drawings. One thing unusual, I guess, let's here. As we sight down the trailing edge of the aileron, please let go, Kristen, so I can. You can see very well the reflex built in to the end of the aileron, which you were questioning the other day, but it's pretty obvious from this angle here. You can if you sight down a trailing edge, you can see how the twist is built into the tip of the aileron. This plane here has a different sort of gap seal. There's like a plywood. I don't know if it's how easy it is to see from this angle, but there's kind of a plywood, I don't even know what you'd call it, but it acts as a gap seal when the aileron is down. You can see it seals up quite well against the aileron, and I don't know if that was just his idea or what, but that's not on the drawings. And here you see the aileron horn and the turnbuckle and the exit point of the cable. Let's see. see. Top of the ailerons, you see the horn and the hinges. There's one hinge out here at the tip, and then the inner one here. Again, this has the shorter ailerons. I think some of the Hooters are built with aileron, I think 2 bays longer, which would give you a little bit better roll control. I would appreciate that at times. The gaps cover on my airplane is just made out of a plexiglass, so you can see the drag spar connections, the main spar, the aileron connection, the leading edge pin. They're all visible when it's on. Kind of gives you that nice warm feeling when you're inspecting it. Horizontal stabilizer is held on by one threaded post here and a wing nut on the top, and then left and right underneath you have another fitting here. So there's really 3 bolts that hold the horizontal stabilizer on. Very easy to put on and off. And I will remove the inspection cover here to show the elevator connection. I think that's visible there. Again, you can see the horn that comes down, and it's pinned with a clothespin to the continuous cable that goes back around the pulley and at the tail post. There's my end numbers. I was able to add the X to it, and by putting the X in there, I don't have to put experimental on the airplane. So anyway, you can see the structure, hinges of the elevator from the underside. Just one hinge on each corner and the one in the center. Got the vertical fin and rudder. I do not have a tail skid on this aircraft as is shown on the drawings. It's just the wooden skeg that the skid would have mounted to. It didn't come with one. Doesn't seem to be an issue, but it does drag on the ground a bit. You can see the rudder, horn, and control hookup. Again, top of the hinge. And of course, the rest of the glider is just like the other side. Here's the right aileron. Again, hinge in the horn and the cable, and the outer hinge. There are 2 inspection plates on this side of the aircraft here. I always like to show people this one in particular. As you can see, it was just cut out of the panel. The grain all matches up. It's held on. I line these 2 notches up, and you can sort of see the way it was made, and with the ring with the notch in it. So it goes right back in there and a twist, and it's secure, and it matches right up. Have the same sort of panel down here.
And you can see the rear of the torque tube and the aileron control rods. You can see access to all that. Inside the cockpit, here we have the release knob on the upper left. Forward, you can see the control stick, the rudder pedals, and of course in the Hooter that's about it. That's about all the controls you have. There's no spoilers, no spoiler handles. You can see I have shoulder belts come out of the main bulkhead. Lap belts. I have some cushions here I'll take out. And you can see the seat that's made as per the plans. I can pull this out. It just my lovely assistant can hold it. And you can see how it was molded with 2 layers of like 1/16 inch or 1 millimeter ply into the curb there, and it sits right down into the fuselage frame here. Here you can see the spar fittings, which all the lap belts are also mounted to, and you can see the torque tube and the control stick. And that's about all there is to this airplane. Here's my, it's not exactly a pitot tube. It actually is a Venturi. The airspeed indicator on this aircraft runs off of Venturi instead of pitot. You see this exact tube on a lot of old vintage gliders, but it has both static and a Venturi. And I'm not sure the exact science behind it. I was told that for low airspeeds you get a more accurate airspeed indication from Venturi instead of pitot, but I've witnessed several arguments about that. But I don't know if it's true or not, but anyway, it has this old style Venturi on it, which actually I made retractable for when I transport on the ground. I can slide it into the fuselage, and so nobody leans on it and breaks it off. And I guess the last thing I have is a little tiny wire, sort of like a paper clip that's stuck in here. That I use for my yaw string. As we know, one of the most important things on a glider. So there you go. There's my walk around video of the Hooter 17, built by John Lee in England in 1990. Had a nice flight in it today. Actually, turned out it was my 1,000th glider flight, and I had a nice enjoyable flight. Got up to cloud base after about a 1,200 foot climb, and was skimming the bottom of a cloud. So it was a pleasant way to celebrate.